here with the Lisa Wilcox, who played Alice in Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5, and I have to say it's an honor to meet you because you are my absolute favorite final girl of all time.
Well, thank you very much.
Of all time.
Yay.
I loved watching Alice. I identified with her so much as a teenager. Coming to these conventions, like, how do people identify with that character when they come up and meet you?
Wow, I love that question because so many people do identify with Alice. You know, they have, you know, in Alice's situation, her mom has died, her father's a drunk, and we're some crazy bully that no one can quite understand what's going on. It's a little terrifying, you know? But I think so much it symbolizes what we do experience, a variety of horrors in high school or just in growing up. You know, growing up is just,
it sucks.
It sucks. It sucks. It does. And I was bullied as a kid in elementary school, junior high, and I was we moved a lot, so I was very much like Alice in Daydream World. It's how I lived through these, you know, the pain, you know? So, and again, it does take a village because as each friend dies, Alice absorbs and emanates their strengths and their weaknesses. Remember the scene in the bathroom where I'm smoking and I'm like, I don't smoke. Well, Kristen smokes, so now I'm smoking. And that's why I feel like the script is so rich in those details, you know? But yeah, I have a lot of people that have come up to my table and they're crying, you know, and they're like, you saved me, you know? So it's a huge honor, believe me. And I guess as an artist, that's one of the, a privilege, honestly, to create characters that people will relate to and that they can see again and again and again, and it gives them strength.
Yes, yes. And you've been to conventions, quite a few of them. Like, what is the best thing about coming to conventions?
The best thing is kind of what we were describing, is for people who have watched the films to come and personally tell me how it affected their life in such positive, amazing ways. So, you know, I'll be crying with them too, you know, when they're telling me their story. Oh my gosh. And the second best part is I get to see all my buddies, you know, because honestly, over these years, we're great friends. We are one big family.
That's awesome.
I mean, Robert Englund, you know, he's like our Uncle Robert. I mean, seriously, you know, I've been to their house. We've been, you know, Amanda Wiss, one of my very best friends, Toy Newkirk, Brooke Thies, on and on. I mean, it's really like the casting director, Annette Benson. She cast the first one through number 5, and Annette Benson, and I know her, and I'm like, you don't know this, but not only did you cast great cast, but you cast best friends for life.
That's awesome.
So, because normally when you do a show like a TV show or even most films, you never see each other again. No. But this allows the opportunity for us to stay tight.
What do you think it is about horror that people really gravitate to and have this personal connection with?
I think it's just a way to, because it isn't real, it makes what is real not so scary.
That's very true. That's very true. Well, I have a huge VHS collection.
Yes.
I love VHS. I have close to 500 tapes.
Oh, I love it.
And I have Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5.
Love
and I was hoping you would sign my Nightmare on Elm Street for the Dream Master VHS
I would be
for
happy
me.
to.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
VHS, love it.
Yes.
And vinyl is back too,
kids.
It
is.
So, you know, which I'm very happy about.
What do you think about the resurgence of like some of this old, out-of-date technology?
Oh, I love it. Don't we miss Blockbuster? Maybe you're too young, but I don't know.
I
but
love Blockbuster.
That was like a clubhouse you go to, and you could just browse and read.
And the covers. That's how you picked out your movie, was the cover. Yeah.
The art. I mean, look at this art.
It's amazing.
I mean, it's just, I think it's great. And people are realizing that, we appreciate our iPhones and all that stuff, but there's still old school stuff that is just more tangible.
It is. It's tactile, and you grab it and hold on to it.
Yes. All right, so want me to sign these?
Yes, that would be awesome.
Okay, here we go. This goes to Freddie.
Yes.
I don't want Lindsay to rest in hell. I meant Freddie, rest in hell.
Yes, thank you
there you
so much. This was so awesome. I appreciate it.
Here, this one will do. Sweet dreams.
And also, how does it feel to be the only one who beat Freddie? She's the only one that beat Freddie.
A true final girl.
A true final girl.
2 times.
Yes.
You know, there was a time where I wasn't happy about that because I was like, where's my death scene?
That's
I didn't
true.
get my death scene. I'm in a Freddy Krueger movie and I don't have a death scene. And then one day a light bulb went off and I went, oh, Alice lives. And at one time I even had t-shirts. I had t-shirts made.
Alice lives.
You know? Oh my gosh. Okay, sweet dream. And then I do this little thing here.
He's sleeping.
He's sleeping.
Yes.
So you have to be quiet. Baby's sleeping.
That's awesome.
There you
Thank
go.
you, thank you
You're
so
very
much.
welcome.
I will treasure these. Yes, Lisa
Awesome.
Wilcox, my absolute favorite final girl.
Thanks,
Alice
guys.
is the best. Thank you. Justin Beahm from Reverend Entertainment. Thank you so much for giving me a few minutes of your time.
Absolutely.
I really loved listening to your talk when you gave your whole spiel there about how you got into filmmaking and documentary filmmaking. And you've interviewed so many people. John Carpenter, just the list is endless.
Yeah. I think Nicolas Cage was a really big one recently on Bringing Out the Dead. That was huge. With John, Carpenter, I've done it a lot of times over the years, so it's kind of like mile markers over time, which has been neat. And same thing with Alice Cooper, where it's like every few years we end up on some project together.
Also the different like behind the scenes and commentaries that you put together for DVDs and Blu-rays. What has been your favorite project to work on along those lines?
Well, like Bringing Out the Dead is recent, and that was a long-term goal that finally happened, so I was thrilled when that finally came through. I loved working on Willard, starring Crispin Glover. That was a favorite. But Halloween 4 and 5 were the first two that I ever did, and so that was like a big moment of arrival in a franchise that I super love too. I'm not very good at giving just single answers.
Yeah, no,
it's like a whole bunch of
I love
answers.
it. No. And you take some of these films that have never had distribution to DVD or Blu-ray. I'm a huge VHS person. I have like 500 VHS tapes.
Yeah.
And there's so much great stuff that has never made that leap. How important is it to preserve those films? Because I've always said, even if it's a bad movie, there's something great in it that is worthy of preservation.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Every movie is someone's favorite. You know, it doesn't really matter the genre, it doesn't matter the format, if it's VHS, whatever. I've met so many people, like when I was working with the Halloween franchise, a lot of people don't love Halloween Resurrection, but I met plenty of people that was their introduction to the series and they just love that movie. So you just never know. But I think that, to your point about the VHS stuff, there are a lot of things that haven't ported forward. We're gonna lose them if we don't hold on to this stuff. So collecting like you do is so vital, and holding on to previous releases as well, because a lot of times there'll be, especially in like the bonus feature realm, something won't move forward from, let's say, DVD to Blu-ray to 4K, so you got to hold on to that stuff because that can disappear too. So I think all of this is film preservation, whether you're collecting tapes or documentaries or whatever. I think it's all preserving that history, because we've lost so many films over time, many of which we're not even aware of, and so I think it's all important.
Yeah, because I mean, even sometimes with streaming, they'll change the edit or they'll take something out, or
The streaming thing
it's so bad.
it's a minefield.
It is.
And especially for collectors. If you love something, you want to know you're going to have it, and that's why some people say, oh, physical media is dying, but then there's this massive movement, and granted, I'm partial because I'm in that world.
What you do, yes.
But there is a big movement because I think people are burned out on the lack of reliability for streaming, the lack of quality. There are free services like some channels that are out there that may have a film that you don't know it's actually the television version, which is trimmed down or pan and scan or whatever. So that's another reason why preservation is so important. And so I think some physical media in some form will always exist.
Do you think with like physical media going out and streaming coming in, I've always thought that, movies are a thing to bond over, like with other people, and I think we've kind of lost the collective experience around films. Like, a lot of people don't go to the theater anymore, they just wait for it to come home on streaming. How important is that experiencing a film together when it comes to things like horror and physical media?
That's a really interesting point. But yeah, I mean, the investment is different now. And I think that's the thing, especially for younger generation. Like, I have a son who's a teenager, he doesn't know of any movie stars. He's not a big film guy. And I even asked him one night at dinner, I'm like, so name a movie star. And he's like, The Rock? That's literally all that he could pull out was Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, yeah. And so it's like kids today, the investment is different. But I think regarding the streaming, the investment is different. Going to a theater, you know you're going to stay for the movie unless it's so bad you have to leave. If you're renting a tape, you've made the journey to go to the store, you're paying, you've shuffled through the whatever, you know, the shelves, and there's a special investment there. You're likely to watch all the way through. They're similar if you buy something, you're more likely to watch it. But when it's streaming, I see a lot and talk to a lot of people who get bored.
Click right off.
Switch it. There could be something amazing a minute later, an hour later, and the investment is just different. So the bonding experience, I think, through that investment in sticking it through, and the communal aspect of watching it with somebody, the discussion afterwards. There's a couple, some buddies of mine have this new movie coming out called Heretic. That is,
yes, that looks really, really good.
Yeah, and they're, when I was talking to them for Rue Morgue magazine about it, they're like, we wanted to make a movie that would incite conversation. We didn't just want people to leave with a passive investment. They wanted people to leave and like dive into the back and forth and really investing in that kind of bond that you're talking about. I don't hear that a lot, but I think it's great that they're in that mindset. So to your point, I think it's amazing. I think it's very, very important.
Last question I've got for you. You're a big horror guy. You love horror. You promote horror. You write about horror, all this kind of stuff. Horror is having like a moment right now.
Yeah.
We're getting so many original and creative and independent films. Just this year alone, I mean, what do you think the state of horror is currently?
I think people, we're going to look back at this moment and realize that it was very important for Terrifier in particular to have hit theaters when it did. Because granted, it was COVID time and things like that when it landed was the right moment, but that's all it takes is that zeitgeist thing you can never predict, never prescribe. That opened the door for independent horror in theaters, period. I really feel like it did. And so I think that's going to continue to benefit the genre and to give independent filmmakers a platform in a way that may not have been accessible before. And that extends to the streamers, because they're more open to independent stuff now as well. So I think it's an interesting moment because there's no dominant trends. We're out of the ghost stuff, we're out of J-horror, we're out of found footage. So I think everyone's kind of waiting for what that next thing is going to be. And the exciting thing about it to me is that it's independent filmmakers that have this in their hands right now. And that's where the most exciting stuff is happening. I can't wait to see what's next. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for giving me a few minutes
My
of your
pleasure.
time. I appreciate it
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I'm standing here with John Sullivan, who is a huge Children of the Corn fanatic. What got you interested in Children of the Corn? Of all the horror movies to choose from, why Children of the Corn?
And there's a lot of horror movies that I could say, but Children of the Corn growing up, it was always something that scared me. I grew up in the Midwest, in Missouri actually, and not a summer went by that I didn't have a cornfield across from my house. And I can remember the summer that I first saw Children of the Corn, and I was watching it, and the first part comes up with the cafe and all of the murders, and then the drawings come up on the screen, and I remember looking at that and then looking out the window across the street at the cornfield, and it terrified me. And it wasn't until years later when I found out, I was always a huge fan of the movie, and then I found out where the movie was filmed up in Iowa, and in 2007 I made my first trip up there, and it impacted me so much that I decided to do a website, and we've done so much since then.
Yeah, and last year I went to the screening that you had in Whiting and stuff, and it was a great time. Met the director, Fritz, amazing person. He was so nice, and his stories were so funny. How many of those screenings have you done so far?
We have done a total of 3. We did one the year before, or I think we skipped a year. We did Fritz, and then this past July we had John Philbin come out, and he was great. He talked to the fans about what it was like filming the movie. It was just really great.
Is there any little behind the scenes tidbit thing that you picked up about Children of the Corn that really surprised you, or that not a lot of people knew about this movie?
Well, one thing that is really cool is if you notice right off the beginning of the movie, when they have the cafe scene, everybody's hair looks shorter, and then of course by the end, when the movie goes 3 years later and everybody's hair is a lot longer, they actually filmed everything in the movie first and then did the cafe scene last so they could cut their hair to make it look like it was before that, because once they cut their hair there was no going back.
There's no going back.
So on the last day of filming, that's when they shot the cafe scene.
And there's been a lot of sequels to Children of the Corn.
yes,
They tried to do
yes.
reboots along the years. And I've noticed one thing about a majority of those movies. They don't come back to the Midwest to shoot. They don't come back to Iowa to shoot in those original locations. Do you think that location is important to the Children of the Corn mythos?
I think it is. They filmed one other one in Iowa, up in Lost Nation, Iowa, up at the Quad Cities. They filmed the 2009 Sci-Fi Channel.
Forgot about that one.
They did that one, which it actually went back to the book and pretty much followed the book as far as Bert and Vicky fighting like cats and dogs on the verge of divorce, all of that. And they actually did film that up in Iowa, but it was on the other side of Iowa actually. But it followed the book pretty close, but the original will still always be my favorite.
Oh yeah. And you said you had a website. What's the website?
My website is childrenofthecornmovie.com, where I have all kinds of things. I'll be posting more and more as time goes on. And like I said, this past July, we just had the 40th anniversary screening in Whiting, Iowa, which is one of the towns used in the filming of the movie. That's where the flagpole is, and the exterior of the cafe, where the cafe was for the interior, was filmed in Hornick, Iowa, but that cafe burned down in 2009.
Yes, all those locations, like the gas station is gone, all that
Completely
stuff.
gone, yes.
But it's still great to go and revisit that. Well, thank you so
It
much
is.
for giving me a moment of
Yes,
your time to talk
yes.
about Children of the Corn. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.